Hi, I'm Ed McFarland, the chef owner of Ed's Lobster Bar. Today, we're making meatballs. Another childhood favorite. I'm sweating because I have a sweatshirt on in here. This is a great recipe. I'm going to give you some ratios to follow, some tips, but I have all the ingredients here in front of me. I have eggs, parsley, garlic, meat, cheese, wet bread. I used to use ground beef, pork, and veal in equal amounts. Now I just use ground beef and veal in a 2-to-1 ratio. You need to have a good Italian bread. You need to cut the crust off of it and get it soaking in water. So I'm just going to show you really quick. This is pretty simple. Cut it into small sections. And damn, if I'm talking too fast for you, send me a message and let me know, because I think I'm talking too fast for myself today. So we're going to quickly cut the crust off, because the crust will not mix up in the meat, so we definitely need to make sure that it's removed. You want to use a sharp knife when you're doing this. Makes it very easy. If you don't have a sharp knife, if you have a serrated bread knife, that'll work just as well. So now on to the fun part of making the meatballs. We're going to get our meat in the bowl. And prepare to get your hands dirty here. This is all about digging in and getting dirty when you make the meatballs. You're going to have to stick your hands in here and mix it. If you like to wear a glove, this would be a good time to put a glove on. I like to get a feel and texture of the meat before I cook it, so I do not use a glove when I mix the meatballs. I'm going to drop our eggs in, the garlic, and I like to use fresh chopped garlic. I think it's way better than using garlic powder. However, if you do not have fresh chopped garlic, go ahead and use garlic powder. And a lot of chopped parsley. Parsley, 100%, my favorite herb, essential to good meatballs. And then the cheese, I like to use a cup of grated Parmesan for each pound of meat that I use. You gotta really squeeze the water out of the bread really well. If you have a strainer, you can pour it out into a strainer and press the water out. But you want to squeeze out as much water as possible when you're doing this. And I like to use wet bread as opposed to breadcrumbs. Keeps the meatball a lot moister. So we have all the ingredients in the bowl. We have all the bread in, the meat, cheese, garlic, parsley, and egg. And we're going to really mix this up well. So one thing, I like to give it a squeeze at first to kind of start to incorporate all the ingredients. But you want to get your hand in this kind of shape when you're mixing. So, and it actually really makes it a lot easier to mix. So every now and then you give a squeeze with it, make sure you're incorporating the ingredients really well. But this kind of shape of your hand really helps mix around the bowl. We're going to add our salt and pepper. And be careful when adding the salt. We have Parmesan cheese in here, which could be a little salty. So you want to be careful not to add too much salt. And we just go with a little bit of pepper. You don't need too much. So we want to mix in our salt and pepper. And then we'll give a little taste. I think it needs a little bit more salt. Add just a little more salt in. Get that mixed in. And then, you know, a quick tip, and you don't want to put too much in. You want to really see the texture, and you see these are nice and soft, and the mixture is really moist. We need a little bit of ice water in here, and the ice water creates steam inside the meatball and helps keep the moisture inside. So we just put a little bit in from my glass, fully filled with ice, and then filled with water. You want to be careful when adding the water not to change the texture and make this too soft, because if you make it too soft, your meatballs will fall apart. And then you'll notice when I get ready to fry these, I'm going to coat my hands with some olive oil, because that'll keep the meat from sticking to your hands as you form the meatballs. Let's go to the kitchen. So you're gonna see I'm gonna drizzling a little olive oil on top of the meat. That's gonna keep it from getting crusty. Watch the way I form these. So I grab a little handful. I never press them tight. Just really easy back and forth in my hand. And then place in the oil, make sure your oil is hot. This way they don't stick on the bottom. You want them to get crispy, but not cooked all the way through before you put them into the sauce. And keep an eye on your gas. Make sure you're not too hot or too cold. If you're too hot, the pot will bubble over and you'll have oil everywhere. And if it's too cold, the meatballs will stick inside the pot at the bottom. We have nice crisp meatball. We go right into this pot of sauce. Just drop it right in. As they're ready. And they'll probably take about an hour to cook in the sauce once you've fried everything. And one of the things you want to do is you want to be careful when stirring the meatballs so that they don't break apart, is just stir in the pot easy. Nice and easy, no real hard aggressive motions. We're going to make a beautiful meatball Parmesan hero. I'm going to take 2 nice meatballs out. We're going to cut them in half, and let me show you how tender these look inside so you really get an idea of how good these are. Look at this, super tender inside. That's the wet bread, the amount of egg, and the ice water. We're gonna put some of our sauce right over the top. Nice mozzarella cheese to sprinkle over the top. Look at that. We're gonna go in the oven. We have our Italian bread, a little crispy. We have our beautiful meatballs with nice melted DiPaolo's mozzarella cheese. We're gonna just slide that right onto our hero. Oh yeah. Little sprinkle of parsley on top. We're ready to go. Okay, so look at this meatball Parmesan hero. This is unbelievable. It looks delicious. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. This is going to be a messy one. I'm going to try and squish this up as much as possible. Man, does that bring back memories. That is fantastic. You have to make this at home.